Hi preschool, Miss Holokai here. So this week we're learning about pumpkins, right? And when you think about a pumpkin, you think about Halloween and jack-o'-lanterns, you might even think of Thanksgiving and pumpkin pie. And the fun part about going to the pumpkin patch is picking out a pumpkin, right? Some people like to get really big, heavy pumpkins. Some people like me like littler pumpkins. And when you go up to pay for the pumpkin at the pumpkin patch, you usually have to weigh it. You have to figure out how heavy it is. But when I look at a pumpkin, sometimes I think, I wonder how big around it is this way. And what that's called is circumference. Circumference is the distance around an object, around a round object, not flat sides and corners, but a round object, a circle, okay? And so when you have a regular ruler, you can't, it's flat, right? I can't bend that around my pumpkin. And I was thinking that you don't always have a ruler on you to measure something, right? So you could use other things like your thumb. Your thumb is about an inch. A grown-up's thumb to the knuckle is about an inch. Or even like the thumbnail is an inch. If you use a dollar bill, I know that's 6 inches. That's a half a foot. Or some people use their feet and go like this and try to figure out how many feet long something is with their own feet, because a grown-up foot is about a foot. But you don't always have a ruler or a tape measure with you. And so what I did was I used string to figure out how far around my pumpkin is. I took some string and I wrapped it around my pumpkin and I cut it off where the string touched. Right there. And I thought, I like this measuring with string thing. I'm going to try it with a bunch of other different round things. So I tried it with my head. I tried it with Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc. I tried it with him. And I tried it with a beach ball. Okay? And I used a string to measure how far around, the circumference. And so I put the strings up here on my wall, and I want you guys to think about which had the longest circumference, which had the shortest circumference. So here it goes. This is the beach ball, okay, right there, that first one. The next one is the pumpkin. The next one is Mike Wazowski. And the last one is my head. Okay? So, looking here at how far around those were, what had the longest circumference, the biggest circumference all the way around? Well, you could tell it's the beach ball. It's the beach ball was the biggest. And that's no surprise. Look at how big around that is. What had the shortest? The shortest circumference, the smallest circumference. Look, the shortest one was Mike Wazowski. He's tiny. And then there's my head and the pumpkin. My head's almost as big around as this pumpkin. Look, the pumpkin was only a little bit longer than my head. Isn't that funny? And then I actually went and measured, used a standard measurement. Things like strings, or using your feet, or using your thumb, just things that you have around, are called non-standard measurements. Because it's not always the same. Everybody's thumb isn't the same length. Everybody's foot isn't the same length. But if you use a ruler or a measuring tape, it's always the same. It's standard. That means everyone uses it. An inch on any measuring tape or any ruler or any yardstick is always the same. Always, always the same. When you go into a store, they're all going to be the same. An inch is an inch is an inch. So I took this and I measured around my head and around the pumpkin and everything. And the ball was 41 inches around. Okay? The pumpkin was 27 inches around. Mike Wazowski was 21 inches around, and my head was 23 inches around. So we were right. Just looking at it, our estimations were correct. So what I want you to try to do is, if you have some yarn or string at home, try measuring around something, like something round, like a ball or a pumpkin or your head, and measure it with a string. Or if you do have a measuring tape, you can measure some things. Try to measure at least 2 things, your head and one other thing, and post it on Seesaw, okay? Remember, circumference, the distance around a round object.